Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm here today with Mandy Danks and Melissa Price from Life, Play, Learn. And today we're going to be discussing something that I think everybody is thinking about now that the third wave is kind of on its way. And that is pandemic homeschooling versus homeschooling. So just a little disclosure here. I am not made out to be a homeschool mom. I have been forced into it by most of the world. And yeah, I have seriously struggled. And Mandy and Melissa are going to share some of their experiences. As I understand it, Melissa homeschools and Mandy did homeschool and doesn't like it and is probably very much like me. And ladies, join in the discussion. Just share your experiences, ask your questions, and you could win a locally made Montessori bookshelf and a wooden mass counting and number set valued at 400 Rand. We will announce the winner at the end. Oh, it's not a bookshelf, it's a shelf.
So it's a little shelf for your book.
Oh, it is a bookshelf. I was thinking like a bookcase. Okay, I get very confused. I've got total mom brain lately, so please excuse me. So Melissa and Mandy, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited for this chat. Maybe you can just give us a bit of an introduction about yourselves and about your business.
Cool. You can go. Yeah. Hi, I'm Mandy. I'm a Montessori teacher by trade and entrepreneur. My husband and I buy and sell businesses, and when we see a niche, we go for it. And that's kind of why Life, Play, Learn started. We noticed everybody struggling in the pandemic, and we started reaching out to people and suppliers. And, things are so expensive. And so we just jumped on the bandwagon to try find things that people could actually afford, and cut through the nonsense of what you don't need. And so, yeah, that's our little baby in a nutshell. And Melissa is...
Melissa. Thank you. Okay, I'm Melissa Price. I used to do normal teaching, so not Montessori.
ECD.
Yeah, the ECD side. I taught grade 2 for a couple of years. My dad got cancer, so I pulled out and started looking after him until he passed. And I had carts on the side as well, from 14 months till 3 years. And then he joined the schooling system because I feel from 3 they're actually ready and they need to socialize from there. So that's where it came from. And then I met Mandy at Mom's Group. And we actually went out on our own. I was like, I'm going to do this on my own. And we realized the two of us, we actually work really well together. And we joined forces and we started tackling the local suppliers. We realized all the big name brands that people were going after. And we're like, oh, it's quite expensive. And people were saying the same thing. And we found some products that are basically the same. We think they come from the same.
We've actually compared big name brands to our local products. And being quite shocked at exactly how the same they are.
Yeah.
And so we just wanted to cut through the nonsense and say to our mommy friends, look here, you can have and give your child the best educational toys at a fraction of the price. And that helping moms and on their homeschooling path, it's seen that we're all thrown into the deep end of this. And moms are going, but oh, this is so pretty. And we're going, but you don't need it, babe. Move on. You don't need that. You're wasting your time and energy. And so, yeah, we try to help mommies on their path of the pandemic homeschooling, and say, what you really need and what you really don't. Yeah.
Although we have a big range of really nice things. You could need them all because they're so nice.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I totally agree with you. I mean, the pricing of stuff, especially brand names, it's absolutely crazy. The prices are just being more and more expensive, and people are earning less at the moment. Well, most people. Some people are due to the pandemic. So it's definitely something that is very much needed. So you don't have a website, as I understand it, but you have a Facebook page.
We're
getting there.
We're getting there. We're only about, where are we now?
September would be a year.
Yeah.
So
and we were thrown in the deep end, and we have 2 kids, and we, two kids each. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And 2 is not 4.
Sometimes we work with our kids around us, just trying to get orders out, and that's chaotic because they're like, oh, toys. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I totally understand. So if anybody wants to get hold of their business, you can go to Facebook to Life, Play, Learn. So
And
there
we're
you
on
go.
Instagram now. Apparently that's the big thing. We're getting in there.
Yeah. I'm also streaming to their page. So if anybody's sitting there thinking, who is this lady? My name is Lynne Huysamen, and I am a mommy blogger. I blog on my website, Kaboutjie.com. It's mostly parenting. It's also a lot of mental health because I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict, and I have, so we just say some mental problems, just to put it out there. Yeah, I'm no stranger to mental health difficulties, so I blog a lot about that. And then I just blog about anything that I enjoy. So it's not always parenting, it can be health, it can be shopping, or anything. Cool. So let's get into the topic. So firstly, I just want to say that I struggled last year. And I think this is a really good topic because what I came to realize very quickly is that the schools were not prepared. I mean, nobody was prepared for this pandemic, but the schools closed and they said, we're going to do the work from home. And I thought, okay, that like, it's not going to be
like homework.
Because I work from home and now I'm going to have 2 children. And I often have 2 children at home and try work during the holidays. And that's hard enough. Now I have to add on schooling. But what happened was, I think my son was in grade 1 last year. So it was his first year of school. He couldn't read it. He couldn't write it. And they basically sent through the schoolwork, which I then had to print and prepare. And I took an hour every morning just to get my son's schoolwork ready, not even including my daughter in grade 3. And it was very intensive. It was a huge amount of work. I mean, grade 1, there's so much. And basically my son and I and my daughter, we all had a complete meltdown. I mean, there was one occasion, I remember we were sitting at the table with my 2 kids. I mean, we're trying to get their work done. And my son starts screaming at my daughter, "Shut up, you're being noisy." And I'm like, she's sitting there doing her work. And I'm like, what do I do with this? And she says, I didn't say anything. He says, "You're writing noisily."
Shame.
And it just went downhill from there. And it got to a stage where I actually just phoned my son's teacher and I said, "I'm sorry, we're not doing this. We for our mental health and our sanity, we're not doing this. We'll do what we can. It's not going to be much." I'll just put that right there. I'm not sending through work every day. That stuff you're sending me to print, I'm not printing and cutting, and I can't do it.
I couldn't print anymore.
Well, I couldn't get a printer. It was that time when the printer wasn't a necessity. I couldn't get one. It was pretty hectic.
Yeah,
we had some ink, then we ran out of ink, and then we ran out of print to stick, and it was just like, it just got too much. And I said, we just need to get outside and play. We will do reading, we will do adding, we will do stuff, but we were at my parents' farm, and I said, it'll be outside. When my son picks oranges, he can count them as he throws them in the basket. But we cannot do this. Yeah, so I think that's, my experience has been very negative. I've had a lot of anxiety with my daughter and her work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're doing this video, and like I say, I'm not an expert. I have failed dismally at most of the homeschooling. My children have passed their grades, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah. And I think like we as teachers were put into this situation and everybody went, well, you're a teacher, you're going to survive, you know what to do. Well, those are my offspring and they don't listen to me. I can run a class of 30, 40 kids and they all listen and follow instruction. But my offspring, those don't listen to me as well. And I'm strict. And then I had a 1-year-old. Melissa had literally just had given birth during the pandemic. So she had a newborn baby. And also, like you said, you were given all this paperwork to do, and paperwork as a Montessori teacher is the worst thing for me. I hate paperwork with a passion. So we tried for the first few days to do the paperwork. Michael was grade 1, and so it was a lot of basic things. But then it got too frustrating, and I threw the paper out the window and kind of went, we will send what we can and we'll do what we can. And we learned hands-on from taking a whiteboard marker and writing on my sliding door, spelling words and letting him target practice them, literally. or doing chalk outside on the pavement and writing the words there and doing a bit of like a hopscotch and a treasure map. Treasure maps were my favorite because we could do maths and language, and he would have to add numbers and then it would take him to the next location, and things like that. And so they're very hands-on learning. And by the end of it, he did all his maths and he did all his spelling. But I think a big thing is taking the pressure off ourselves and stop competing with others.
Yeah.
Because I think often you get so stuck in a situation where you're watching Instagram or Facebook and
that's the thing, you only see the great things. Like you don't see the 101 meltdowns and how long it took you to actually get that work done. So that's the difficult part for them to see.
That definitely was a biggie for us, is that I think that I put a huge amount of pressure on myself, and through that, a huge amount of pressure on my children. And it wasn't like my son had, in that first lockdown, he had a big meltdown every single day. But I actually think he needed it. He needed that outlet to just scream and like an emotional vomit, so that he could cope. And then I had to do that every day. Luckily, my mommy was there. So
and you whine at the end of the day.
I'm becoming organic and addict.
I was drinking a lot of wine in the evenings.
So I didn't have wine to drink. I had to keep it, But I did have my own coping methods.
Well, we eventually tackled exercise because Michael is ADD, and at that point we didn't even know. But as a teacher, I was going, "Oh, red flags here." I tried him working on a ball. I tried in a room where it was dark. Well, not darker, but like closed off away from the rest of the activity and the family and the at that point 1-year-old, and the dogs barking and that didn't work. We tried everything. And eventually I even tried doing videos with him where I say, well, these are your spelling words, or this is the knowledge we're learning. I'm going to tell you the knowledge, and then mommy's going to video you, and you tell me like you're presenting it on TV, and that worked twice. And then we had to like evolve again and then do the next thing. And then we would do videos, watching YouTube videos on the lesson.
I think YouTube helped quite a bit. There was a lot of inspiration out there. Some nice activities to do. And Carter was 4 at the time. So his school, it was actually great. They sent us everything. I didn't have to prepare much, but being a teacher, I always went over and above because I know the next expectation because he's doing grade R next year. So there's a lot of pressure on me. I feel like I had to go a bit more to get him to know everything with the pandemic. I was like, I don't want him falling behind, even though I know he's ahead, just that expectation behind you. But they set everything out. The only thing is he's very hands-on, and he's also got sensory issues. So he didn't do well with the lessons that were online. He would sort of sit there and then he'd get bored and walk away. He's more on one-on-one interaction. I think that's where the pandemic failed him in a sense. He missed that interaction with people and his teachers. That was difficult for us on the other side.
The videos were hectic. My daughter was in grade 3 last year, and then grade 4 this year. So when the schools delayed opening at the beginning of this year, it was really tough. So my daughter struggles with anxiety, and she's got such huge expectations of herself. And that's not placed there by me and my husband. I don't even know where they come from. But I mean, what we expect of her and what she expects of herself, it's like this huge gap.
But you only find those co-link, the anxiety with the high expectations of themselves. They're normally perfectionists. You'll find those kids are.
I mean, if she gets something wrong and it's in pen, then she will just melt down, just one word. And I say, well, just scratch it out. She's like, no, but my teacher's going to see it. And, it's the end of the world for her. And I put aside a day when she started for homeschooling for the beginning of this year. And what they said is that the children must take part in the lessons as if they are at school. So she got the phone set up, and it was back to back exactly like school. And I thought, I wouldn't be able to sit there and go from one Microsoft Teams meeting to the next, the whole day following this. And it's not the same as being in a classroom. It's very disconcerting because, something freezes and then you can't hear properly. And you put your hand up, but nobody sees it. And it was very distressing. And from the first lesson, it went completely pear-shaped. And she got into such a state that I actually turned the phone off, and I said to her, go lie in bed, turn on YouTube, watch one of those terrible, that, I don't know, they like watching. I said, go watch some of that and eat a Tinky and just relax.
Chill.
Yeah. Go eat. And she's like, I can't do that. My teacher, and they're going to, and I said, no, you know what? I can't take this. You can't take this. We reset today. We will deal with it. I will message your teachers. We will pick up again tomorrow. We'll be better prepared. And I think, so what I've said to her now is that if it goes online, I require you to be there at the beginning of every lesson. If things start going bad, and if you can't cope, and if you can't follow, turn it off and walk away. And I'll make an excuse for you, and I'll help you catch up, whatever it is. But to kind of get into such a bad state, I could see that first day. It's like the whole day is ripped. There's going to be absolutely no point. So, I think for our children, it's so hard for them.
Yeah. Also, the way that you were taught to do things, and now you're trying to teach your kid, and they're, oh, well, my teacher does it this way, and you don't know the way the teacher does it. I think that's also caused a lot of issues.
A lot of friction was caused because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And my kids freak out because I say, okay, so here's your work, and I grab a pen and I start like, no, don't touch that.
Michael was quite like he'd write something, and I'd be like, no, you need to write it neater for mommy. You need to go neater than that. And he'd get so frustrated, like he actually licked the page the one day and was like, well, that's what I think of your writing skills, mother. And I was like, yeah, but this is the head of the cat and the tummy and the tail. And he's like, rah! And I was like, okay, lesson done.
Moving on.
Know when to call it.
I think that's a very important tip, is know when to. It's not about giving up and saying we're not going to do it, but I think you've got to recognize that point where you both need to step away. It's not just for your child's sake; it's for your own sanity.
Your own sanity.
But you've also got to realize that the school is catering for the 3 different types of kids in the class. You've got your top kids, your middle kids, and your kids that are really struggling. So they're going to send out a bunch of work to try and meet everyone's expectations.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you've got to realize where your kid is at and be like, okay, well, she can only meet X, and that's where we're going to be. We're not going to get to that, and that's okay. Yes.
It's okay. You don't have to be the best in the class. You don't have to be. And so what if you're the worst in the class? And I think our kids are surviving something so much greater than work. They are surviving a pandemic, something that we have not survived. We have coping skills.
Amazing.
We have coping skills. They don't. And I think our kids are going to come out so much stronger for having survived this pandemic. Homeschooling pandemic, I should say. It's nobody could be prepared. But now going into another wave, I feel like we as moms need to be real and say, it's okay. If we don't do work today, it's okay. It's okay if your kid's behind.
But there's other ways of doing it, like vicarious learning. Go to the shops and get them to, for the younger ones, go and count. We need 5 oranges today. Go and get it. Okay, well, now Susie's 8th one. How many do we have left? Just,
be more hands-on
learning for them. Make it fun, shall I say.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. And I think this is, the whole topic of this is pandemic homeschooling versus homeschooling. Now, I haven't done normal homeschooling at all, but I do have a few friends that do homeschooling that are close to me. And I think that's the big difference between what's happening now. And I think this year's gone a bit better than last year because the schools know what they're dealing with now. And last year, the feedback I gave to the school is, you can't just give me what your teacher would have done and put it in the inbox for me to print out. And, I get this assignment for my grade 1 child. I look at it and I think, God, this is complicated. What are we supposed to do? What do you do with that?
Yeah.
And then the moms are all WhatsApping each other, and we're all like, well, I don't know what to do. And I just said to my son, what do you think you need to do? He goes, no, I can do this. I'm like, you do that, honey. I don't care. I'm going to mark it. I'm going to put a big red tick on there for you. It's not about getting things marketing. It's not about getting things right or getting anything perfect. It's about getting stuff done every day that is useful and making sure that they're occupied in learning. So, from
straight. Yeah.
So I think
because you think nothing down. You frustrate the brick wall.
Yeah, I think my grade 1 teacher had a different idea from me last year, because I think she wanted things done in a very certain way, and I'm like, as long as you do something, honey, that's perfect. Anything is great. So, yeah, you might have
that expectation on the school side from the government side of this is what needs to be done. And even when I was in the government schools, there was just so much content that we had to get through. And unfortunately, majority of the time, the kids that really need for us to consolidate that information, they're missing out because there's just no time. You let you go through the concept and the next one's already like, oh, we need to get to the next concept already. Sorry, buddy. Hopefully you've caught it. That was a lot of from us as well.
Yeah. And I think that's where, we're both our kids are at a Montessori, Generations Montessori. And I think it's so amazing how they cater for every single child.
So the curriculum set out for your child.
Yeah. So if your kid's ahead, cool, go for it. And if your kid's struggling with maths or language,
he's got 3 years
He's got time to catch up. And I think, we were all worried more about life lessons and emotional well-being versus academic. Not saying that we didn't push academics, but we were more worried about them as little beings. I even spoke to the principal and she said, you know what, if it's not working, leave it. Do what is working. You need to survive. You need to get your kid through this, and you need to do what works for your child. And that was just like a little light bulb. And we went, yes. But
I think that's where homeschooling comes in beautifully. I think homeschooling accommodates for being at home and learning with your child in a less pressured environment and learning more from real life things than sitting with a book and a piece of paper and a set curriculum. So
and what your child's interested in, yes.
Yeah, so in the beginning, like we sat in a little makeshift classroom in the garage. Well, then she moved it onto the trampoline and kind of pre-read what he needed to know. And we went and lay on the trampoline and did work on the trampoline and mixed concoctions with leaves. And that was us. That's how we eventually learned our work. And if I felt he needed and I'd skipped something, we would then revert back to Khan Academy again, which was a very hands-on an online program, or we did YouTube. And once we removed the expectations and the stress of having to get through our paperwork, because paperwork kills me, we as a family operated so much better. We actually enjoyed the pandemic home family bonding because we removed the stress of it. And I said to Melissa, we sat in the sandbox the one day eating ice creams with my laptop playing ocean music, right? And we were at the beach and we discussed what we would find at the beach, and we were just on an exploration. And the 1-year-old climbed all over us and it was a nightmare. But once you remove the stress of it, and I think as long as we can go into the third wave, if it, go that way, remove the stress, remove the anxiety, and remove the expectations, and it's okay.
Do your best. That's all that you can expect.
Yeah, and do as much as you can hands-on learning. Definitely get a lot of paper.
And your whiteboard is your friend. The whiteboard,
leave the paper. We don't need paper to print. If anything, fold an airplane with it.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. And I think, from my side, I found the pandemic quite hard in a personal, like my personal stuff. So, and then of course I'm a mother, so I've got to keep it together and show my kids how I keep it together so they can keep it together.
You don't need to keep it together.
I almost keep it together. But what I mean is that nobody keeps it together all the time. But I teach my children healthy coping mechanisms, and as an addict, natural inclination is to shut up my nose, okay? Get drunk. So make sure that I was coping in a healthy way, not just for myself, but to teach these little children how to cope and keep myself calm. I mean, of course, I totally disagree with making myself look perfect for my children, because that's going to set completely unrealistic expectations because
Exactly.
and every now and then mom has a wobbly. In fact, it was quite funny and my children were so cute. At the beginning of this year, we had, firstly, it was a delay to school opening, I think by a week. Then they said, we're going to open that week later, like they said, but they're not all going back at the same time. They're going to do a phased in approach. So my daughter would go in on the Wednesday when school started. Thursday, neither of my kids would go. And the Friday, my son would go. And then the following Monday, they would all go. And I'm like, okay, now phased in approach. Now I work from home. So I've still got a kid at home every single day. Okay, so I'm a bit moped, but I'm like, I can do this. Then my husband was going back to work on that Monday. And he went back to work. He did a rapid test, positive for antibodies. So now they send him home. So he's got to do a proper COVID test. So on the Wednesday when my son was supposed to go to school, my daughter, I can't remember which one was supposed to go. They can't go until we've got the test back. So my husband does the test. It's negative. So he goes to work, but I've still got the child at home because it's too late to send the kid in. Then the Friday, one child goes in. The Monday, both children go to school. And I'm like, yes, they're back at school. Finally, I made it. I'm so excited. And I get them back from school. And I'm like, yeah, I can do this. About 20 minutes later, I get a WhatsApp from the school. Sorry, guys, we close. I read this with my phone in my hand, and the tears just going down my face. And I just start sobbing. And I'm like, and my kids look together. They said, what are we going to do with her? What do we do? And one of them says, put her in the bed. Quick, put her in the bed. So they put me in the bed, and the other, get the hairbrush. We'll brush her hair and rub her back. And they're sitting it all together in front of my children. But it was really cute seeing them looking after me like that. And then I calmed down and I'm like, it's okay, guys, we can do this. Like bring out the positivity. But I think, now my daughter's worried about closing schools with the third wave coming up. And I said to her, she gets the whole day video to video to video. They don't slow down the curriculum. They keep going at a full pace. Yeah. And I've just said, if we've got to turn that laptop off.
Well, we also are, we used to it the way things are with both kids at school, or the older ones at school, and then Connor goes 3 days. Mackenzie's with me full time, but I can't get any homeschooling done with her. She's just turned 12 months and she is on the go. If we try to do schoolwork, she's pulling on the papers or interfering. So I look at this third wave and I'm like, please, 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 he has to stay at school. I'm not going to get anything done for him.
Well, I wanted to hit at the time that the holidays start and finish when the holidays finish, because then, I mean, that'd be perfect, at 25th of June, please. That's when we can do lockdown schooling, because then there's no school. And then they must open. How long is a holiday? 3 weeks? That should be enough for a lockdown, right?
Times are different with the public and the private schools.
Our school starts, I think we're going on holiday.
Either a week later, a week.
Yeah, well, that's my hope, because I'm sure at some stage they're going to have to close. But if they can tie it in with the June holidays,
that would be lovely.
But otherwise, we've got to survive and get through it.
We do, yeah. I think, again, just
it is daunting, but we've managed before and we can do it again.
Yeah. I think it just makes you stronger and just get back to basics. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean,
I also feel like having a plan in place, even if you don't follow that plan, it just relieves that anxiety and that stress, knowing what the schedule is going to be like for the day. I think that helped me. I had a little book and I wrote down the things that I'd like to accomplish with Carter, and just knowing that I've got through some of it made me feel, oh, wow, we've actually accomplished some things today.
I was just like, if I get my teeth brushed, I'll be good. I'll be doing well.
I love that. I'm going to make a note of that quote. If I just lockdown, I've made it.
Chewing bubblegum didn't really qualify. Even things like you need to brush your teeth at least once a day, okay? And then it was eventually like, did you do it this week? And then things like with my younger one, the washing felt like it never ended. And so
housework as well.
The housework,
everybody in it and making food constantly.
My job just increased because everybody was there. And so eventually became a situation of delegating. Right, washing needs to get done. Michael, go fetch the lawn, or Connor and Michael go fetch the laundry baskets and all the laundry. Right, mommy's going to teach you how to do this. Right, the washing machine's beep. Let's go. Those little fine motors in the pigs. Let's do this thing. And make peace with the fact that it's going to come out horribly muddled and skew. But it's fine. Nobody's going to see you in the clothing anyway.
My kids stayed in their pajamas.
Yeah. My kids didn't do pajamas. They just went straight into clothing.
Yeah.
And then things like helping with the dishes, helping with the chores. I think that was a big thing. In the beginning, I was doing it all myself, and eventually I was burning out. And I remember my husband saying to me, I think you need to go lie in the bedroom and have a break from the dishes. And I was like, they're not ending. No matter how many times I ran the dishwasher.
Yeah.
So eventually it came to an aspect where we actually delegated chores. I mean, my kid at last year, Michael, had chores, but we needed to increase chores and share responsibility. Because now it wasn't just me at home on my own when the kids went to school. We were a family who ate a lot of food constantly.
Yeah.
My kids ate more food during the pandemic than they
It's like 3 times. It's been crazy.
I just fed you. What do you mean you're hungry?
I think what you say about routine is really important. And I mean, from my side, working from home, having 2 kids and being on my own, it was a challenge. And I think I've always had a very strict routine because my children are at home in the afternoon. So everything, I work in the morning, I do this, I have a strict routine. But that whole routine had to get thrown out of the window, and everything had to get mixed up, adapted till I found something that worked. And I think what you say about all the chores, I mean, that's a biggie. That was really, really huge. Yeah. And, if I just do the chores and let them just be kids, I'm going to do nothing all day but clean up after kids. Yeah. So what I did is say, we do everything together. We get up in the morning together. We brush our teeth together, because they do it so much easier if I'm brushing my teeth with them. And then we have breakfast together, and then we tidy the dishes together, and then we do a bit of schoolwork together, and then we do this and this. And I exercise and get out and about. And I think it's important to have that routine and that structure rather than just kind of let everything hang out.
Thrive off it. They need it.
Yeah.
It also just creates that, it lowers that anxiety for them.
If they can predict what's going to happen, especially if they can't tell the time.
Especially your sensory sensitive kids. Yeah, they need that.
Yeah. I mean, something like we did a lot of matching with socks. I remember hanging up socks and thinking, I'm going to have to go find all these guys later. And then I was like, well, why don't I just hang the 2 together? Then they're on the line. And when I take them off, then they're already together. I can just fold them. I'm thinking, wow, that was a breakthrough in my life. And then that became an activity. Like I used to put Michael on the floor and I'd be like, right, anytime a sock comes out, I'm going to chuck it your way. You find his friend and then you peg him up on the washing line. It like saved so much time. But he was doing pegging, and so he was strengthening his little fingers, and he was matching. And so obviously my toddler tried to do that sort of thing. And so I think get back to basics. I think that's a big thing. I mean, I say that all the time. Get back to basics. Use what you've got around you. Keep it simple.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love it. I was just wondering, so one thing that you've highlighted quite a lot, which I really enjoy, is the fun elements. I'm bringing the fun into it. I absolutely love that. So that, like you said, the chalk on the pavement and the maths treasure map and all of that.
So even your reading.
Windows.
Around the house, like with the letters, and he had to go find an object with that letter and bring it to me.
So scavenger
hunts were great.
And on walks as well and incorporate that. That's really cool.
Yes.
We sent him with I think it was something of sense. It was quite cute. It says you need to go find like 5 sticks and 4 stones, and we just took a little bucket and we went around the neighborhood. I think that was the time where you could literally just leave walk. Your walk around. But that was great.
Yeah. And then we did a lot of fun things where we dressed up quite a bit, and we had like a day where we were all.
I remember for your burn.
Day.
To put your burn out.
And so we just used to just get up and continue doing fun, getting dressed up. And letting Michael choose my outfit. I mean, those are the funniest things when he used to choose my outfits. Like, okay, well, that's what mommy's going to be wearing today.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to, so it's okay.
Yeah. No selfies today. I remember Michael, because he's such a busy kid, he was getting very frustrated in the fact that he couldn't do his favorite sport and riding his bike and things like that. So we had to think outside the box. So he loves cycling. So we took 2 plastic chairs, and my husband drilled holes in either side of the chair, stuck a dowel rod through the back of the tire and lifted it, and popped on YouTube, and he would keep up with the cyclist going down a mountain or on a roller coaster. And that he used to climb, and he used to do it in his racing overalls. He used to climb off with his helmet on, to get off drenched in sweat, and then we would do schoolwork, because then he was ready after a little snack. That's when we got him to do the most and best he would do at schoolwork was after physical exercise.
Yeah, there's actually been research that works now.
Yeah, so we would often do funny little things like that, or we would do some yoga, or we'd do some stretching, or there was that other
cosmic
guy.
yoga was amazing. So basically it takes them on a little adventure through the stories that they know. What was it, like Spider-Man and Harry Potter? It's stunning. And then it basically does movement, but she's telling the story, and then they learn the movements. It was really cute.
With Michael, we needed to do a lot of hardcore exercises. He needed a good old hip hop class, even though we were doing it horribly wrong. We did a lot of hip hop classes. We did a lot of super hardcore exercises like push-ups and things like that. He's got low muscle tone, so we really had to keep going with his movement. He needed to move. We would run races like relay around the house. Who could do it the fastest? Then it was like
the trampoline's also great.
Yeah,
that was a lifesaver for us. Yeah, just to bounce off that extra energy when you couldn't leave the house.
Yeah, hanging. We put together
and obstacle courses, literally with your washing baskets and random stuff around the house. We made an obstacle course for him that kept him busy.
Yeah, we even hung my stockings around the patio with random things in it, and he got to punch them. I threw beanbags out on the grass and used to pummel into them and just dive bomb them, just to get that nice,
sensation, that impact.
The boys. I mean, the boys need that. My son's a tyrant. If he hasn't had enough exercise in a day, you put him in bed and he bounces right out like a jack in the box.
Yeah, no, we used to do, I think I lost more weight during the pandemic than I actually did gaining it, because I had to keep up with the 6-year-old at that point, and he was just so busy. We did hopscotch, we jumped. In the beginning we could swim, but then it got cold.
The swimming was great,
yeah. And then there were days that we took off.
Yeah.
There were days, even though it was a Monday,
stayed in bed and you just watched TV.
And it was okay. We had to make friends with the iPad because we were very against screen. And then I remember going to my husband saying, "It's okay, just leave him. He's mourning. He's mourning the loss of his friends. He's mourning the loss of reality in life. He's in mourning. Leave him to mourn." And we didn't leave him for weeks on end. We just gave him a day or two. And then we were like, right, let's get up. We're going to rediscover how this is going to work. And there was a lot of trial and error and trying to figure out the balance of what he physically needed versus emotionally and cognitively in schooling.
The sensory swing was also very great on those tough days for them. My son's, as I said, sensory sensitive, and he needed that swing. Just when he had those meltdowns, he would go do a couple of swings, go get a book and climb in there. I'd spin him around. That was one of our lifesavers.
Yeah. Fantastic. I'm making notes as we go. I'm not like I think what you said there is really important. I think it took me a long time. We also used to our life being in a specific way. We actually quite set in our ways, and anything that unbalances that can really upset a lot of things. And so, for example, thinking back 3 years ago, when one of my kids gets a tummy bug and they got to stay home from school, it would upset my work, it would upset my routine. And of course, all that washing and cleaning up vomit is not great. But I would find that if I have one day like that comes out of nowhere, it would upset my whole week and I'd struggle to kind of find my feet. That's one day.
Yeah.
And what we do as an entire family and an entire world is that absolutely everything is turned on its head. The way that we shop, the way that we socialize, our mental health, our sleep, our schooling, our absolutely everything for all of us. So, we all wobbled. And I think we need to be kind to ourselves and realize, of course, we've had to adjust. And every time the schools close or there's a new, lockdown level or something like that, we all have to kind of suddenly adjust and find our footing.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, like you say, just be kind to yourself, be kind to your peers. Start posting real pictures.
Yes. Yeah.
Or stay off Facebook, because that's a big pressure. It's easy to make something look pretty, but it's harder to make it look real. And I think we're so caught up in making it look pretty constantly, and there's such a competition of being the best and doing it the best. But that's not life, and life's not pretty and easy and this pretty little picture. So I know we eventually switched off our social media for a week or two, just because I couldn't handle the pressure anymore, because everybody was baking and they were doing experiments, and I was like,
That was us.
I couldn't do it.
I was having meltdowns.
I was like,
I baked bread and it came out really, really nice. I did have a massive bread success.
my husband took on baking.
The rest was meltdowns.
No, my
we
husband took on
baked once a
baking.
week, but that was more for Carter. I was like trying to bring in the maths elements there, so I found that was a great way and life experience.
Yeah.
But he also enjoyed it, and I enjoy it. So
My baking skills are they come out of a box.
No, you do well. You do.
My baking skills are like a lucky packet. Sometimes I do really, really well, and sometimes, but I have fun doing it.
That's the most important thing.
Stay sane doing it. I think that's the one. I think if we go into this and we kids don't go to school, go back to basics, dig deep.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you don't need all the pretty things. When you start a homeschooling journey, they often say you've got to actually unschool. For every year that your child goes to school, you've actually got to take a month off to unschool them and get out of this set routine and get into a new routine, if that makes sense. We didn't have that. We didn't have a period where we could just kind of adapt. We just throwing work at us and going, right, start working now. Today we want results by the end of Friday. We want this and this and this and this and this. And we're like, you can't do that. But then again, none of us were prepared and none of us knew what was going on. Going into the next aspect, I think go into holiday mode first. Switch it all off, go into holiday mode, chill, get into that vibe, and then start your schooling when you're more relaxed and you're ready for it. And even if you are starting a week later and you started sooner, you at least be in a happy place. You need to be in a happy place to get work done. Your child needs to be in a happy place to get things done. Otherwise, you're not going to get anything through to them. And like you said with the Twinkie, you need to understand your child and how far you can push them, and you need to read your child. And that's why we always say a lot of things have to be hands-on, because you can do as much as you can on paper, but then eventually you need to run a relay race between every spelling word that you do, So we would run around the house and then do one word. So ka'ata, and spell it out and write it down on the chalk on the paving. And then we would run around the house and spell it out while we were running. And then come back and then do the next word. How much of that went down, I don't know.
But you also got to realize that your child has got different abilities to the next. So my son is reading. A lot of moms will come to me like, but my one can't do that. This is the same age. But there's things that Carter can't do that your kid is mastering. And we need to realize those expectations, and they're not all the same. They're not they don't come out of one carbon copy. They're all very different. And I think that's very important to them. So don't set that expectation.
Yeah, and it's not just my kids and your kids. My two children are like night and day when it comes to schoolwork. I cannot read my son's writing, and I say to him, "It's messy." He says, "My teacher don't care." And I'm like, "What about the next one you have, dude? Put a bit of pride in." He's like, "I just want to get the stuff down." And I'm like, "What if it's not right?" He's like, "I don't care." and he does his homework. He finishes his homework in like 5 minutes flat, and I look at it. I'm like, "Teacher says nothing. She just puts a tick by this rubbish. I don't know what it is." I send it to school, because I've tried to get him to be neat. I've tried to get him to rewrite everything. My son is going to be a doctor or something. I don't know. He's not stupid.
You can do whatever you can, and their writing is not going to change.
I got to accept that.
We swapped over to Koki. I found my kid can write easier with Koki. He doesn't have to push as hard. It comes out easier, and I find that for him was a lot less pressure than having to use a pencil. And then things like I used to pre-write the words, so for spelling or the answers for maths. I used to use paper, write down the words, and then he would have to spell them out, and we would just stick them in the book versus writing them again. And he would trace them in the sand, or we would trace them in flour, versus having to write. He's now doing 10 times better because we've just taken the pressure off him.
Yeah, and their little muscles are only starting to right now.
And the muscles are only the little bones, the bone structure. If you look at a structure of a child's bone when they're 4 and 6, there's a huge difference. The physical aspect. So often it's more just developing those little muscles. So those fidget poppers are awesome. Those snappers are great. Pegs, my firm favorite. But getting those muscles strong, you can't write properly unless those muscles are strong. And your core muscle has to be strong too. So your kids needs to be doing a little bit of exercise
and a lot of crossing the midline.
Yeah, a lot of that.
That's very important for writing.
So yeah. So shaving cream on the door of your shower when they're showering, so you can hose it down.
You get those fuzzies, which is quite nice, which is the
for the bath.
Yeah, but you can write with that instead of the shaving
cream.
Oh,
one thing I made which was stunning is you just take shaving cream and you put a bit of food coloring in it. And you pots and a little paintbrush and put them in the bath. I mean, that can keep them busy for ages.
Yeah.
Very easy. Just washes right off, even though it's got food coloring. It just goes straight down the drain. I think shaving. I'm just wondering, something that comes up for me is now with the third wave coming up, I mean, there's a good chance schools will close at some stage. So part of me says, well, we'll be doing this now for a year and a half. I've got this waxed. But there's another part of me that's like, I'm so tired of this. I'm done, So do you have any tips or advice for moms at home on how to kind of get over this mental fatigue of COVID with kids at home? I mean, maybe you don't have any advice. I've got nothing. I'm all out.
I think it's great to have a good support system, and we've got a great moms group, and just vent to somebody. Sometimes at the end of the day, you just need to just vent, get it out. And your kids can be a little shit sometimes,
And that's okay. It's okay. I know I said to Michael the one day, I love you, but right now I don't like you. And that's okay. You just need to go away and give mommy 5 minutes because I need to just deal with my emotions.
Yourself as well.
Yes. Yeah. I did just a little course during lockdown for myself. So I closed the door and told the family not to come near me for an hour. Which was very hard for my poor husband. But he took them in the garage because I didn't even want to hear anybody either. And I would just talk to a friend on the phone, FaceTime, brushing my hair, and just putting makeup on just to feel a bit normal. But like Melissa says, a lot of it is just having a good support structure, having one good friend.
Just to vent and to be truly honest with them. Say it how it is.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no point hiding.
We as women need to talk our things out. Often I don't need an answer, I just need you to listen. I probably have the answer. I just need to get it out of my system. And my husband always says, but I don't know what the answer is. I'm like, I don't need an answer. Just listen. Your girlfriend gets that. our mom's group was amazing. You know, we used to chat a lot on our mom's group and moan about our children, and our spouses. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I think take time for yourself. Chat to your friends, vent, have a bubble bath.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up as well. Is I have been on, in the last year and a half, this amazing self-care journey where I used to feel guilty about it. I used to not do it. And when I did do it on that very rare occasion, feel guilty about it. And now I have my bubble baths in the middle of the day when the kids are at school, because I know no one's going to come poo next to my head because nobody's here. No, and it's amazing. I mean, I would never have done that before. And I spoke to you about yesterday. I got into bed at 7:15 after my sister-in-law picked my kids up because electricity was out and it was cold and dark. And I thought, I'm just going to lie here and watch a series until the electricity comes on. Then I'm going to start work. I fell asleep till 10 a.m. And you know what? That's fantastic. I've never done that in my life. I think I'm going to once a week put a little block out to go back to bed and
go nap.
Yeah, because they do that with kids actually. They go for a nap on their lunch break.
You've got to look after yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. We as mom always put everybody before our own needs, and I think that's when the mom burn out.
Just sets in though.
Yeah, you've got to set aside time for yourself. You've got to take, even if you read a book and you read 3 pages, you know, that's this little mental accomplishment. I've done something for myself. I painted my toenails. Oh man, I've just cut them. Brushed my teeth.
My legs.
No, we don't have time for that.
At this time, we need to take a bit more time for ourselves than we normally would, because we're giving more of ourselves just a mental load of what we're taking on. It's absolutely humongous. So, I mean, it's not directly related to pandemic homeschooling, but if we lock down again and we've got to be at home with our kids again for another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and school them, I'm preparing now. I'm going to have a bubble bath after this because I'm preparing for the 3rd wave. I'm feeding myself
and a box of chocolate
myself as much as I can. Whenever I get a spare chance now, I would always like, okay, I've got 5 minutes. What else can I get done? Now I'm like, I've got 5 minutes. Let's get in the bath. It's really cool. Let's have a nap, because I can feel that this pandemic this 3rd wave it's on its way, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be really, really tough. I think, you know, the pandemic fatigue combined with the 3rd wave, which may be bigger than the 2nd, who knows? I think it's just going to be really, really big.
Yeah. I think also we need to take the negativity out of the pandemic. And we need to look at the bright side. You're so easy to go, oh, I'm going to lose my friendships. I can't do this. I can't do that. Oh, no, you know what? Look at the positive side and everything. And kind of go, you know what? I'm getting to spend time with my family. I'm going to be able to rearrange that cupboard, the one that I keep shoving all the crap into. And, you know, there is a bright side to everything. There is definitely. And I feel like if we can just take the negativity out of this and look at the positive. What have we learned in this situation? Well, how have we grown as humans? Things like hugging. I am not a hugger. I hate hugging. I would love to hug people now. Okay, so when we go back to hugging, I will be the #1 hugger. So I miss that now. All my friends that used to hold me tight and squeeze me for like half an hour, I'm like, oh, let go. I miss hugging. So we need to look at those things. What have we learned?
It's also so important to look at your day. I think how I end my day every day is basically look at the positives for the day and look at the negatives. And I normally think, oh, it's been such a crappy day. But actually, it's only such a small section of the day that wasn't so great. Yeah. And that helps me go forward into the next day. Basically just jotting down everything. While I shower, actually, I talk about my day. If you walk in, then that's what I'm doing. Talking about my day, and it really wasn't that bad.
In the shower. Melissa talks to herself. I like that though.
Yeah.
And then also
like only alone time, okay?
And also when you stand in front of the mirror, say things like, I am beautiful, I am smart, I've got my shit together. Even if you don't, tell yourself you do. Be positive. Don't break yourself down the whole time. I think the more you promote
It looks like I'm back. Hopefully Mandy and Melissa are going to be back soon. Hi, everyone. Okay, so it looks like I'm back, and it looks like Mandy and Melissa may be back.
Hi.
We're all back. I don't know what happened there, but there was a moment. I lost you guys. But yeah, I wanted to just get into what you were saying there. I love that. And, as a person that suffers a lot with mental health difficulties, I find that self-care and positivity, positive affirmations, gratitude lists, all of that. I mean, it's absolutely huge for mental health. So yeah, I'm making lots of notes, and I'm running out of space. But I think it would be, something definitely to take forward into this wave is to, practice that daily self-care, practice that being kind to yourself, and practice positivity.
Yeah. I also wanted to say, things like, you get people who can sit on the floor and play Lego for hours and hours with their kids. And then you get people like me. I really don't enjoy sitting on the floor playing too much Lego. I get bored. And what I read years ago is rather spend 5 uninterrupted minutes with your child. Put your phone away. If it beeps, it rings. Your child needs to know that they're important too, that you would choose them over the phone ringing. And rather sit on the floor and give them 5 uninterrupted minutes dedicated to purely them.
What they want to do.
Yeah, that 5 minutes is more important than spending hours and hours on the floor with your phone in front of you, and kind of pretending to be there, but not really engaging in being there. Because every time the phone beeps, you kind of look away and you're gone. Rather spend 5 minutes uninterrupted. That 5 minutes has got such quality to it. And reading. We read a lot to our kids.
Yeah, every night.
That is hugely important. I think
for language development.
Yeah, can't even express how important reading to a child is. So yeah,
I totally agree with that. Reading is absolutely fantastic. We're a bookworm family.
Yeah, Michael's now reading proper readers, and he doesn't read to us every night, but Chris will read with him, or read slowly with him. And then we've tried to get him to read to his younger brother, which causes a lot of stress some nights, but he'll get in eventually. And then he was very proud of the fact that he's accomplished it. It's these little accomplishments that are very important for boosting their self-esteem.
Yeah, so Kot will read his reader, and then he'll pick a book for me to read to him.
Yeah,
which is nice.
And also remember, when you make things easier for a child and you give them an easier task that they can fly through, it boosts their confidence, something you have no idea. So often when you start something, so say we're doing homeschooling, give them something they can do and they can accomplish this with their eyes closed, because that's going to give them such a boost to push through and do the next harder task. And if they struggle with the next task, go back to something that's easy, and then try and tackle the harder project or the subject or thing that you're doing, the activity. And that's what we believe in Montessori. So often our children will do an activity that's so easy, and we know they can do it, but they're just preparing their little minds to be in the right mindset to be able to accomplish a harder task with a bit of chutzpah, I suppose. So yeah, that's always what we try and do is do this little mental juggle.
Yeah, fantastic. I like that. I've made a note of that for my daughter, because she upset when she can't get something right, or if she makes a mistake, she's got a lot of anxiety. And I think if I do something easy first and then move into the next thing and then easy again, it'll kind of probably keep on a bit of an even keel. So
you also make sure that she's eaten, and I mean they've rested well, and they've got some exercise. I think all of that plays a part. So they're not just mentally there. You've got to look on the whole being.
Yeah, definitely gauge who they are. Don't give sugar before you're going to do work. That's a no.
No, I've not made that mistake yet. I don't want to try
ice cream for breakfast.
If you have a bowl of ice cream, there's no school today. You go play outside. Okay.
Saying that what the parents said the kids were to school and expected us to look at them. Cans of Coke and a packet of chips was their lunch.
Hectic. I usually send I'll maybe send one treat, but they have to eat everything else first. And it's not like anything hectic. It's like maybe like 2 biscuits or something, but not laden with too much. Oh, we've got
I have someone in the back. Lady's here, and I've got my lady helping, so that's fine. Awesome. What I was going to say, sugar does play a role in it. We do. I did do a bit of work with him the other day, and I had speckled eggs, and I had a big bowl in front of him, and every time he completed a page, I popped them into his jar, and he could physically see it growing. But he was but then he was only allowed to eat the speckled eggs at the end of it. So a little bit of bribery and corruption.
Oh no, we love using our sweets for math tasks.
There is a time and a place for sweets. I'm not saying there's no sweets. There's definitely a time and a place for that.
And now we're getting to an age where we can even bribe with screen time.
That's my biggest one. And I give them screen time every day, and I use that screen time either to get urgent work done or to go and have a bit of quiet time for myself, because that's the only time they're quiet is when they're sitting there like glued to their screen. Then it's like quiet, and then I can have a nap or a bubble bath, hopefully without a pool.
I use the screen in the morning, so I would give him actually breakfast in bed. I shouldn't, but with the TV on, and that's the time I actually got my cleaning done, and then we'd start our day after that. I was like, I need to actually, my house needs to be in order, and then I can start. I can't start in this space that just things need to be done and packed away and staring at me, because then I'm focused over there. I also feel like the environment is very important for the setup of your day. How are you going to do it?
Yeah, totally. And that's where routine comes in as well. Then you can get everything right according to the way you need it to get started. For sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Are you ready for getting into the comments?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So we've got Antoinette. She's got a 3-year-old, a grade 4, a grade 5, and a grade 9.
Oh,
wow. Good luck, Antoinette. That's all I can say is I can empathize and not know exactly what you're going through, because I've only got 2, but it's a lot to handle.
Yeah. So in that sort of aspect, I mean, obviously doing things as a group as much as you can.
Grade 4 and grade 5 could work nicely together, sort of help each other, and the grade 5 could teach the grade 4, and then the grade 5 could also learn from the grade 4 those basic steps again.
Yeah.
In the grade 9.
And then don't exclude the 3-year-old. I mean, you'd be surprised how much a 3-year-old can achieve, as long as they feel that they're part of the group and they can do things that are similar. They don't have to be the exact same. They can be similar.
The little paper.
Or they have their own little station of goodies that they've got to accomplish, that they too need to feel that they've accomplished in doing something, that they're adding value to the group unit. Another firm favorite would be to put activities for the younger one into a basket and have them higher. So when they do start wanting to run around like a crazy loon, you can kind of pull out a surprise basket, even if it's just a good old toy that you dug out from the bottom of the toy basket. If you rotate your toys and keep them going, you can keep a child going for quite a while on a surprise toy. But yeah, definitely trying to keep everybody doing the same project just at their level. That would
Well,
be my
one thing that might work as well is my daughter's in grade 4, and she loves nothing better than a child younger than herself to order around and play school.
to teach.
So she's the teacher in York. She is strict, eh? So if you can get the grade 4 and grade 5 to, take turns being the teacher for the grade 3, for the 3-year-old, sorry. I mean, that could be loads of fun.
And then
my daughter,
grade 9, do one-on-one.
she has break time. She has, now you've got to go play outside. Now you've got to eat your apple. Now you've got to do this. Now you've got to color in. Oh, she loves it. It's fantastic. And that might be a good way to keep those younger ones busy for a while. I mean, the grade 9 is probably going to be, I'm very independent and working his or her own. But, the 3 younger ones.
So that's why, again, like involving everybody, sitting around the dining room table, I found everybody doing their own thing.
But you're together.
But you're together. You're not isolated in your room. Often we like send our kids to a room to do. My dog's calling. I'm going to have to open for him. He's very needy.
Yeah. Oh, dear. We've frozen again. Mandy's frozen. I think I am not frozen. I hope I'm not. Cool. So we've got Zama that's homeschooling a toddler, a grade R and a grade 5, and it's overwhelming. I can totally relate. I think, the hardest one is the toddler because they need a lot more focus and, mommy time. So, yeah. And we've got Leonora. She's homeschooling her special needs son of 11 years old for 3 months, and it's a challenge on a daily basis. And it's a struggle to keep him to the schedule that she's got planned for the day. I wish I had Mandy and Melissa to give some feedback on this because they really are fantastic. And I know that she's got experience with special needs. I'm going to ask her to come back to that and answer your question. We've got Nicole, definitely a crazy experience, and she had to send the kids back to school. I totally relate. When school opens, I'm definitely the happiest mom on the block. We've got Leonora. Yeah, the Sun School provides all of the work. Yeah, I'm finding that as we go along in the pandemic, the schools are adjusting a lot better to what we need to provide our kids, which is really helpful. We've got Antoinette. Society puts a lot of pressure on our children. I think so, definitely. I can definitely feel that, and I think perhaps that's where my daughter gets her anxiety from. She definitely feels that. And Roselle, her daughters had to sit in front of a screen the whole day. There was not even any period of time between the periods. It went from, I think, 2 periods in the morning, 3 periods, a break, and then 3 periods, and then 2 periods. So it was 3, 4, 5, I think 6. What was 3, break 3, break 2. It was 7 or 8 periods in a day, and it was just back to back. She barely had time to take out her books. So I've got a rule with my daughter that all she has to do is be there for the beginning of every lesson, try keep up, and if things start going pear-shaped, then she's allowed to actually leave the lesson, and we contact the teacher and just try and, pick up and catch up on everything that needs to be done. And we've got Robin. She's got a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and a 9-year-old. Yeah, I struggle with the motivation as well, especially with my son. He's not keen on school. My daughter really loves, my kids are the same. I've got a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old. So my 9-year-old takes school very, very seriously, and my 7-year-old does not at all. I think, creating rewards and motivating them with some sweets and some screen time wouldn't do any harm. And we've got Lee. Homeschooling is good if you're not working. Yeah, I struggle with it. I really do struggle to prioritize my kids' needs and my work needs. I mean, obviously, if I can't work, I can't pay the bills and pay the groceries and that sort of thing. But I also need to give the time to my kids. So it is nice spending time with them, but it is definitely a very big struggle. Let's see what else. We've got a lot of comments. We've got Antoinette, high school, just as bad. And her daughter has been told they have to follow a strict routine according to the timetable on Teams. It's tough. It's really, really tough. And I'm sure, for the older teens, it's just as hard. My daughter's 9, and she has to follow everything and keep up. It's, usually what we do is she's there for the beginning of each one, and some of them she manages to stay up to date with the whole lesson. And some of them she leaves. She just leaves it playing and leaves, and we catch up later. But that means that, the afternoon, we've got to spend time catching up, which is also quite tough. Oh, wow. Grade 1, grade 3, and a toddler. Yeah, you probably still have an ulcer from 2020. Totally. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of positives with lockdown. Clarissa says that's the positive of lockdown. You're able to teach them to do everyday household chores, and she loves how Carter's making dinner and washing up too. I've definitely found that it's been amazing doing everything together. And we've got Mandy.
Yay! Back. We were reading the comments and seeing which ones we could answer.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, then I'm going to be going up and down. Maybe if you are on the same place where I am, and then we can move down and you can tell me which ones you want to answer. There was one there that I thought it would be fantastic if you guys can give an answer to, because it was, she asked for tips and I was a bit blank. Oh, here we go. It was Leonora with her special needs son of 13 years. Oh no, and they're leaving again. That's terrible. Yay! So Leonora's homeschooling her special needs son of 11 years for 3 months, and she's found that it's a big challenge. He's intellectually impaired and struggles to keep to a schedule. Do you have any tips?
Pictures. Take pictures of him doing activities and then put them up in a row or going down somewhere, if it's on the fridge or in his room, that he can physically show him, here we are, we're getting dressed. This is you getting dressed. Right, let's go back to our schedule and look at the next picture. So I think in that sort
breaking the task down one at a time for him. Yeah.
But definitely having it as a visual that he can see himself doing a certain activity.
Especially if he's not talking.
Pictures are big help there.
Oh, fantastic. Nice. Now I've got to go find out where we were down the road. Yeah, Robin says she still thinks she has an ulcer from 2020.
We all do. You just name it and make friends.
Oh, yeah, we got Lauren. We all know Lauren.
Hi.
Montessori style toolbox for lockdown to help us moms keep them occupied.
We don't, because every child is different. So if you contact us, we can put together what we'll chat about your situation, your home situation, your child, and with that,
they're interested in.
Yeah, we can put together a survival kit as such. Maybe we've got counters here. Where the counters, which were both our saving graces. They're little counters. So you can do so much with them. You can be matching or counting and your numbers.
These are sandpaper. They're really nice.
They're very cool, yeah. So this is my son's playroom.
We love it as well.
/ Montessori. Yeah, and so like there's nice activities we could. It just depends on age. It depends on interest, because you need to go by your child's interest. If they're into dinosaurs, boy, are we going to throw dinosaurs your way. If they're into unicorns, you can hone your child's learning ability so much more if you are tuned into what they like. And so that, again, every child is so different. Yeah,
I think there also came one, I don't know where the comment is now, where the mom said that she's struggling with motivating her kids, motivating her 7-year-old and her 9-year-old to do the work and to understand the importance of schooling. And I think the tip that you just shared now on, going for their interests, that would be very valid over there. I did share about using sweeties and screen time as bribes, but I think
yeah. In that way, if you go back to basics and you go and you stand in the garden, you lie on your tummy and stare at a plant and you see what is actually happening in your garden. We would take a hula hoop or a cord and just put a cord and then stare into the garden and look at bugs. And I remember Michael saying to me, we found an earthworm had come up somewhere along, and he said, but he's going to die, or what's going to happen? I said, well, I actually don't know. Let's just lie here and watch him. And we lay there and we watched an earthworm crawling. And then eventually we had to go YouTube because I ran out of knowledge of earthworms. It's very limited knowledge. And then we went and we Googled, and I said to him, it's okay, Mommy doesn't know the answers, then we go find the answers. We'll ask. And therefore you're creating this world where it's okay to not know the answer, not know everything. Because often our kids are faced with us, we know everything. But we don't. And our children need to know that that's okay, and that you can go look up a word and you can go Google the information, or read a book and read up about it. So yeah,
I think that's how we tackled a lot of the tasks as well. Cops would come up with things and we would go search for it, and that's how the interest from the day turned. So if it was fire trucks, and then we would make fire trucks out of shapes and just go from there.
Yeah. My kid's into racing, so we went the racing route as well. And I was quite shocked at the knowledge that he'd gained over the pandemic about a car. I'm quite sure he could put an engine together now. Probably not, but the understanding of how the combustion works. And again, it just came back to he was interested in a topic and we went full force. We Googled it, we read a book, whatever books we had online. They were amazing. I think it was iPick or Pick or something like that, where you can go and download books on topics that you like. And that was a big saving grace for us because obviously the libraries were closed. I'm trying to see if I've got it on my phone. And then podcasts. Podcasts are amazing for getting knowledge, and what's great is they can lie and they can listen to it, and jokes.
What we did as well was we took all of our tasks, the things that we had at home, and we shared it amongst our friends. So every week, once a week, we'd do a drive-through and let you collect what you've got, and then I'd get something from you. So yeah, the kids would get different toys and different homeschooling things. Yes. And our books as well, because the libraries were closed. So we did the same thing with the books. Just swap the books out, and the kids got new readers, and it worked well for us. Yeah. So if we get to that stage again.
But definitely look up. It's called, I think it's Epic.
Yeah, Epic,
EPIC. And you can download the app, and they've got amazing for all ages books. There's some that they read to you. There's some that your kid will read. I found a comic version on there, and because Michael had just started reading, it was still in the early days, and the comic version worked for him, and he loved them. He went through them at such a rate. So yeah, got to dig deep.
And I love this. I also love the way that you said, look for teachable moments in kind of simple, everyday moments. You can find so much that is teachable.
Yes.
And I think the whole theme of this video, though, is that, yes, there's the school syllabus that our children do have to learn, they do have to know, they do have to focus on that. And my kids are at Cura, so it's very work-focused and very structured. And for us during lockdown, it doesn't always work. We have to get a little bit more creative and not always stick to the syllabus and do things that works for our kids.
Yeah, I mean, being entrepreneurs, we've learned it's not what you know, it's who you know. It's making those physical people connections, which will get you so far enough. I'm not saying education is not important. I'm just saying being streetwise and being able to cope with life is so important. Mackenzie, say hi, Kenzo. Say hi.
Oh, baby. Hello.
Look, hi. Can you wave hi? No, she's interested in the dogs. We're surrounded by dogs. I have one on my lap.
Perfect. Dogs and babies. Here we go. Okay, we've got Leonora, and she brings up a very important part, is that they miss their friends, and we as parents have to become their friends as well and entertain them in new, funny ways. Yeah, I definitely found that. And I found, like you said earlier on, the pandemic has got a lot of negativity and a lot of struggles, but it's also brought us together and closer with our families and our children. And one thing that I've found has been really important is that, I mean, yes, we need to get closer with our kids and provide more for them now. But I've also found it really important to regularly set up little WhatsApp video playlists with my children and their kids, and connect with their friends, talk to them, have a bit of private chat time.
We did a lot of that. We did. It helped the kids a lot. And we would send videos of them, just what they were doing throughout the day, things that they would have missed out on. So we did a lot of that.
Yeah, you've got to keep that connection going, definitely.
I know that last year the boys couldn't read and write as well as they wanted to, and so Michael and his best friend Ben would play Minecraft together, and so eventually they'd have one device in front of them to play the game, but they'd have my cell phone and his friend's mom, and the boys would talk to each other through playing Minecraft, and that was his saving grace. None of us had devices during the time because he had all of them. To chat to his friends, and then FaceTime, and we even did little skits. The school organized for us to do little shows, to do I think it was like a 5-minute little concert as such at home, and your child had to basically choose the outfits, choose what it was going to be about, give you the dialogue, and then you posted it onto the parent group, and we kind of shared them between us, and the kids loved this because they were getting a little mini story out of it. It was real fun being told what to say and dress up. And it was fun to see the other parents engaging and doing that. There's lots of little, and writing letters. I mean, the art of writing a letter is gone, or as much. So we wrote letters, and even if they were just more pictures, and popping them into our neighbors' boxes, painting rocks, and putting them all around when we were allowed to go walk, putting them around. We also sat on our driveway and waved at our neighbors.
Oh, yes.
For a long time. Did exercise with them a few mornings. We'd all stand on our driveways, far from each other, still in your driveway, and we would do exercises together, and that was amazing. Even the kids joined in and did that.
One of our streets actually creates a little hopscotch obstacle course in the road for the kids, which was very cute.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, we've got a lot of comments here about the we've got Clarissa saying that pandemic homeschooling sounds like more fun than regular homeschooling.
I think homeschooling is fun. I think, and it should all be fun.
Once you've got your, everything in order, then it's great.
Yeah. I think you've just got to take the pressure out of any situation like that, and look on the positive.
I love what you said about the break, because that's not something that we've been given, but it's something that we could take. Is because I struggle with at one stage it was one day on school, one day homeschool, one day on. It was. I thought, that do one or do the other. Just let my kids stay at home or go to school, but not one day on, one day off. It was
disruptive.
But I think if the schools close again, I'm definitely going to take a day or two and just reset, because I think that would be really, really. In fact, maybe I'll even suggest it to the school. And we've frozen again. So I see a lot of people here are picking up, a lot of moms, on the movement and the exercise that's kind of forgotten. So Clarissa's spoken about that. Schools forgot during the course of the day about movement. And Nicole saying that dance helped loads with her kids. We've got Antoinette saying that her son's very sporty, and the stopping of the sport was a huge problem, and he gets very frustrated. I totally understand. My son is also a big time sporty one. I'm just going to remove the frozen picture of Mandy and Melissa. Let's see, and then Judy. Judy from Mama SA. Hi. She says that unschooling your kids is essential before you start the homeschool journey. Just what we were talking about now. Let's see. We've got Nompumalelo. I'm sorry, I'm not getting your name right. I'll have to practice that. It was hard. It's hard even now because I haven't found a school for my daughter. We study at home with the classes she's attending. And a 1-year-old son always makes sure that he will come in and take something that belongs to his sister, and they'll run around after each other. It's crazy. But I keep them calm. Last year was worse. My daughter would cry when I take out her books. Yeah, I think it's, I totally understand that sibling rivalry. My 2 kids can really have a go at each other at times. And yeah, my daughter as well, she started already panicking about, the possible school closures for third waves. And I think it's really important to just make sure that our kids are happy and healthy and are taught coping skills. I think that's really something that we must put a huge focus on. And the schoolwork is important, but it's also important for them to learn how to cope. Lauren's also got a messy handwriting son. Cool. Food dough and coloring is the best when they don't have Play-Doh. Yeah, there's a fantastic thing you can do with, there's a really awesome thing I created, foam dough. I've actually got it on my website, and that's got to do with, what is it? It's flour and shaving cream, I think, and food coloring, and it makes amazing dough to play with. Hello.
Hi. We're on our phone now.
Should we change our view? Should we go like this?
I'm scared to even turn my phone in case we go.
Cool.
We'll be upside down. No. Okay.
Yeah, you'll be. Yeah, we're just hitting through the comments. I'll just do it in matric. Yeah, I must say, I really feel bad for the matrics from last year and this year. Yeah, I think it's, in one aspect, they're able to do things more on their own, they're more independent, so they'll be better able to cope with the videos and the workload, but doing it all on your own at home is, at those teenage years, you don't want to sit with your mom all day. You've got to get out there, you've got to be with your friends.
The workload, the parents, a lot of them only did low grade maths, or some of them, just the other, what was it, standard grade, yeah. So I think that's very difficult for them to try and help. And the other subjects, if they didn't do it, like life science, how do you help someone if you're not equipped with the knowledge? Yeah.
But I think a big is their social aspect.
Yeah.
It's very important to keep them chatting to their friends and
the depression and everything.
Oh. I might ship my teenagers off somewhere one day. If I can do it.
Yeah, let me know where you send them. I like it too. Men love to have solutions. No comment. I agree.
Men love solutions. Yeah, no comment.
And then it's never easy to get me time. Yeah, next thing husband walks in, the kid crying, like you'd be lost in the Yeah, I can relate to that as well. Cool. I think the sound's getting a bit. I don't know what the sound sounds like on your side, but it's too bad on our side. I think maybe we can wrap up the video and go chat to the ladies in the comments a bit later.
Okay.
Is that good with you guys? Because the sound is not good at all. Okay. Everybody, thank you so much. I'm sorry we didn't get through all the comments. It's been fantastic. I have personally learned so much. I've through the whole video, and I feel like I've got like a whole arsenal of tools to add to my parenting toolbox for the next time we have to do homeschooling. So thank you so much for your wisdom and all of your insight. It's been amazing.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
It's lovely.
And I just want to choose a winner. I'm going to go with Antoinette, homeschooling with 4 children. You are the winner of the Montessori shop and the numbers and letters. Is that correct?
It's somewhere. Let me find it. Yeah. Hands-on math, and then one of our shops behind us. Yay! It's a really awesome tool if we go that route. So be a big help.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be very helpful. And I'm glad. If you just send me an email to lynne@kaboutjie.com, you can inbox Kaboutjie Facebook page, or I'll just go find you later and send you a message. Cool.
Awesome.
I wish you all have a fantastic, calm, happy family weekend, and I'll catch up with you all soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lynne. Bye.
Pleasure. Bye.